Hey, it's Patrick Flanagan, audio developer and CEO at Voloco. And today's video is all about how to use Voloco Producer to make synthesizer-like arpeggiated vocals for techno and EDM in Ableton Live. It's going to sound something like this. All right, let's get started. I'm using Ableton Live for this demo. You could use something else, but the important thing is that you can just loop a fairly short audio segment. What we're going to be doing here is recording a short segment of audio, like 1 bar, 2 bars, and then looping it and sending it through Voloco. And I'm not going to sing, I'm not going to rap, I'm just going to hum or say ah, like I'm at the dentist. All right, I've got my project here. It's some techno project I downloaded from edmtips.com, and I'm going to record about 2 bars of myself just saying ah. Here we go. All right, then I go in here and I just make sure that the loop point is set correctly. All right, we've sort of trimmed the loop. If I go back here and trigger that clip, you'll hear that recording of me saying ah go through Voloco. And it's gonna go through one of the factory presets, and that'll sound cool. But then I'm gonna show you how to recreate that factory preset or something like it from scratch. Fun. All right, let's dive into how that preset was built. So let's say our starting point is the hard tune preset, which just gives you a single voice with pitch correction. First thing you want to do is go over to the sequencer tab and check this really important box here. Use DAW tempo. Second, make sure you're in the right key. So know what key your project is in. This one happens to be in the rather exotic key of G sharp minor. Okay, so we're set up as far as key and tempo, and we've checked the use DAW tempo box. That's a good start. Next, we're going to set the number of voices. And for this kind of arpeggiated preset, you may as well just select all 8. If you don't need all 8, you can just not use it. But you want to select all 8, and now, obviously you see a gigantic grid of rotary knobs. We're going to use those basically to control when notes are on or off and how loud they are. And there's sort of a division of labor in programming arpeggios between the sequencer tab and the harmony tab. The sequencer tab is where we program the rhythms. Voices are either on or off, and if they're on, we can control how loud they are. And in the harmony tab, we program what pitch each voice produces. Let's start with voice 8. What I like to do when I program these is I like to put the lowest voices in terms of pitch, assign those to the lowest voices in the tab. So voice 8 is usually going to be like the lowest pitched voice. Well, what I want to do with voice 8 today for this preset, produce an output that is 1 octave lower than the input. And when we're using a scale that has 5 notes, like the pentatonic scale, pitch shifting something down an octave means entering -5 for the number of scale step transpositions. So that's what we have here. Another way for you to do that without clicking these arrow buttons, if you just click octave down, it's going to take that voice down an octave. Okay, I'm going to leave voice 7 at unison. I'm going to have sort of like an ostinato thing, going from like octave down to unison. Yeah, voice 8 will be an octave down, voice 7 will be a unison. And let's say voice 6, let's have that be an octave up, so that would be 5. And then for the other voices, the higher voices, I think I want each one to go an octave up and then an ascending number of scale step transpositions. So I'll go octave up and then change voice 5 to be 6. So if I sing scale degree 1, G sharp, voice 5 will be an octave plus 1 scale degree more up, which would be B in this context if I sing a G sharp. And we'll do the same thing here, and we'll just keep going. So this is, Voice 4 will be 7s. Voice 3 will be all 8s. I think you can see the pattern here. Voice 2 will be 9s and 10s, and I'll fill the rest of those out. Okay, I have finished programming all of the harmonies in the Harmony tab that control what pitches will be output when a given pitch comes into the plugin. Now I'm going to hop back to the Sequencer tab and program the rhythms for this preset. There are a couple of ways you can approach programming rhythms in the Sequencer tab. One is to approach it kind of like a sculptor and carve away what you don't want. The other way that you could do this is to turn all the knobs down to 0 and then add back what you do want. I think that's easier, so that's what I'm going to do. It's obviously kind of tedious to turn everything down to 0, but I'm going to do that now. I'm going to turn all the knobs down to 0, and then we'll start adding material back. Okay, I've turned the levels for every voice at every step all the way off. Now I'm going to start adding material back. The main idea I have for this preset is that they're going to be alternating eighth notes between the octave down voice and the unison voice. So that's voice 8 and voice 7. So just sort of a simple octave eighth note pattern going on in the lower voices. And then above that, I'm going to throw in some sort of arpeggiated stuff in the higher voices, and maybe also have the voices, those higher voices, sound together on the upbeats, or maybe in sort of a bell pattern like thing to add some syncopated flavor to it. I'm just gonna play the loop and the beat and build the sound live. So here we go. Let's start adding those lower eighths. That's kind of cool, but I'm going to fill it in. That's fun and everything, but let's do some exciting stuff with those voices. Let's do some harmonic EQ, some spectral EQ, and some spectral panning. I like how this sounds mostly, but I can't really hear the higher voices. I'm going to turn up the gain on the higher voices so that they pop out of the texture more. Throw in a little bit of the sequence gate.
sequencer in the sequenced gate can change the character of these presets in really interesting ways. So I think you've heard the basic thing that's going on. It's this. Oops. Right? So you can do a lot of cool stuff there. I'm going to post a link to this preset that I just built, which I guess is now titled Cool Arp Thing 2. There'll be a link to it in the video description. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Voloco Producer plugin preset creation videos. Thanks for watching.